We're going to start with a quick overview of Google Drive, just the buttons, where things are, where your files live, that sort of thing. To begin with, this middle part is where you're going to see your files and your folders. You see a couple different views here. This is a list view. You can use this button to change to a grid view if you like that better. It's harder to read some of the file and folder names, but it's great because you can see pictures and little previews of your documents down below. You also need to know where the settings button is. We're going to change some settings right now and talk about those settings, but that's the little gear here on the top right corner. So click that and go into settings. The very first thing you're going to want to make sure is on is convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format. This will take your Word, your PowerPoint, and your Excel files and turn them into Google documents so that they can be changed and edited inside of your Google Drive. We'll talk about that when we talk about uploading files. We'll also talk about files being offline, available offline so that you don't need internet to work on them. That's this button here. So you'll want to make sure that that's on if that's something you're interested in doing. Finally, you can have this little quick access bar, which I'll show you when we get out of this menu, turned on or off here. I'm going to click done. This is the quick access. So these are files that you've been in recently. If you like that, you leave that checkbox on. If not, you can uncheck it. On the left-hand side of your drive, you have several other little quick access areas. We have team drives, which can be used. We're not really going to get into team drives very much in this class, but team drives can be used among people. It's not very much different than a shared folder in your My Drive. You have shared with me. When someone shares a document or a file with you, you'll see that here. You want to go there if someone says they sent you something and you didn't get any kind of notification, it'll be in your shared with me. Recent, of course, shows you anything that you've been in recently. Google Photos will connect to your Google Photos if you have that option. We're not going to go into that today. And then Starred will show you any files that you have starred that you can get back to. Let me show you how that works. If I use this folder all the time, I can right-click on it and hit Add Star. Then it will show up in my starred folder. That way I can get back to it easily anytime I want. I don't have to dig through a bunch of different files and folders. Any of these things, when you click on them, also bring up another series of options here having to do with sharing or to delete the document. You can also right-click on any file or folder and you get a series of options here. You can color code everything in your drive, so all of these folders can be color coded. Just choose the color, right-click, change color, and there you go. So probably the most important feature of your drive, or the thing I use the most, is your search feature up at the top. When you type in the name of a document here, it'll bring up a quick list of all of the documents that it can find related to that word. If you have put something somewhere and you don't remember where, search for it. If somebody shared something with you and you can't find it, search for it. If you know the name of the document, it's easy to do. You can also search by type of document, and when you go into more search tools, you can actually search for things that are owned by specific people. So if you know somebody has shared something with you, you can type their name in and find that exact file. So that's the search function. You'll probably use that most to just type in, you're looking for something specific and pulling it up, but it's very, very handy. That's the gist of your drive. There's only one more button that you need to know about that we're going to talk a lot about in the next parts of the lesson, and that's under New. So this is where we go to create folders, to create files, to upload whole folders, and to create other kinds of documents. So we'll get to that next. All right, for this next part, we're going to talk about how to move into your Google Drive, how to put files inside of your Google Drive. So you already have a whole slew of folders and files on a jump drive or on your computer and you want to get them in. There's two ways you can do this. Number one, you can hit New and you can upload entire folders or entire files. And I'm sorry I'm on a Mac, which most of you probably won't be on, but when you click either of these options, you simply go find the file or the folder that you want to upload. You choose that file and hit Open, and it will bring it right into your drive. Drops it right in there. You can upload any type of file, pretty much. Documents, spreadsheets, and slides will all get converted to Google versions of themselves if you have the conversion turned on in your settings, like we did in the first objective. So you'll want to make sure you have that on so your Word, Excel, and PowerPoint file gets brought in and you can edit it here. A PDF file or a movie file or a picture file will also all come in just fine, but when you open it up, you won't be able to make any changes to that file. But you can't normally do that anyways on those files. So anything you bring in will work just fine. You can upload an entire folder of things. It takes a little while. You'll want to make sure when you upload a whole folder, you wait for it to finish before moving off this page. So you'll see a little status of the uploading over here, and you can watch that when you upload a whole bunch of things and make sure that they all work and finish. The second way that you can upload files is to simply drag and drop them into your drive or into certain folders. So let me show you. I'm going to move my window this way, and I've got a, let's say this picture here that I would like to upload into my personal folder. So I just simply drag the picture and drag it right on top of that folder, and you'll see that it highlights the folder personal, and it's going to drop it right there. Now if I change my mind and I just want to drop it in my whole drive, if I just kind of drag it out to the side and I see my whole drive being highlighted blue, then I'm going to just drop it into my drive, and it will be down here in all of these files that I need to organize in my drive. It will not be in a specific folder. So very easy, drag and drop files right into your drive, drag them right into the folders that are there, and they'll also convert this way. You can drag whole folders or individual files. All right, so you've got some files and you've got some folders in. Now it's time to create a new document. Should you go to Microsoft Word, create a document, save it, and upload it? No, that's way too many steps. You want to create documents and folders inside of your drive. You can do this from any device, from anywhere you are, and when you create them right here, you save yourself several steps. So let's do that. I'm going to open a folder for this course, and I want to create a new document here. So I'm going to just click New, Google Doc. You'll see that my Chrome opens another tab, so I still have my drive open here, but I also have this document open, and boom, I have a Word document, which we'll talk more in depth about later, but there's my Word document. You can also create a sheet or a Excel spreadsheet. You can create a slide presentation, and when you go down to more, you have some other options. You can create Google Forms, Google Drawings, or Google Sites, and there's a lot of other little things in here that I have that you can also create. So that's the main thing. What if you want a folder inside of this folder? New folder, and name it anything you want. Inside of that folder, you want to drag this document. You can just click and drag and move it inside of that folder. Okay? It's that easy to create documents and create folders. You'll want to make sure you do a lot of this in Drive. Save yourself steps. Do not create documents in other programs and bring them in all the time. You can create all of the documents you need to right here. All right, so let's talk about the most important part of Google Drive, and that is sharing. Sharing files and folders is the whole point. Being able to collaborate with other people, with teams of people, will really make Google Drive work for you. No longer do you need to work on a document, email it to someone, they make changes, email it back. Just put the document here, and you both will have rights to work on it if you've shared it correctly. So I'm going to show you several different ways to share, and this is a lot, but just make sure that you know at least one of these ways for your test. Make sure you know how to share a file or a folder. So let's start with a folder. I've made this team folder, and I'd like to share it with someone on my team. So I'm going to start with the easiest way to remember, and that's right-clicking. I'm going to right-click on this folder and click the Share button. Now, I want this to be secure. I want the person who I've shared this with to have to log in and make sure that everything inside of that is behind that password protection. So I don't want to just be able to send this folder out to anybody in the world. I want a very specific person to see this. So I'm going to go here and type the person's email address. I have the option to give them view rights or editing rights. Depending on which one you choose, they'll be able to do different things. So do I want this person to add their own files, to be able to delete files, to be able to mess with things inside the folder? That's editing rights, the pencil. View only rights mean that this person can see everything inside of the folder, but that they can't change everything. Now, the other thing to remember is that rights on a folder apply to everything in the folder. So if you give someone view-only rights, then everything inside that folder is view-only unless you change it, which you can do on specific documents. Okay? So view or editing rights are really important. Now, you can write this little person a note and you can say, hey, here is our new team folder, and check notify people, and they will get an email saying that they have been invited to a team folder. Now, two things change as soon as I share that folder. Number one, the folder now has a little person on it. That little person tells me that folder is shared with someone. So before I put something in there, I may want to think, do I want that person to see it? Number two, when I go back to share, I will see underneath that that folder is shared with someone. I can click on that in order to take that person's rights away or change their rights. All right. Now, all of that works on a file as well. So let me open this folder, and let's say that I've got a file here that I just want to share with one person. So I can go here, type the person's name, and the exact same way I can give people rights to view and edit. However, here I also have an option on a file to give them commenting rights. This allows people to leave comments on the files, but does not allow them to edit the actual document. That can be really handy for when you're working on something that needs a lot of people to chime in on revisions. Same way, click send, and that file is shared. When it's shared on a file, you'll see a little person icon next to the file name. That's how you'll know it's shared with someone. All right, now, the other way to share a file with someone is from within the file. So when you have something open and you decide, okay, I need somebody to see this and take a look at it. I want them to have access to this file. You'll see a share button in the top right-hand corner. You'll also see a share button here under File and Share. Either of those buttons will take you to the same place, and you have the same option to share with specific people. Now let's talk about sharing with a link. Maybe you don't want the folder or the file to be secure. Maybe you don't care that it's secure. Maybe you need to send this folder to a lot of parents and you're not sure what their Google accounts are, and you're not sure if they even have one. So rather than typing in all of those individual email addresses, what you need is just a link that will take everybody to the folder. All right? So here's how we do that. Same exact options. We can click on the share button, and we can click Get Shareable Link. This is going to give me a link right here that will automatically work, but I need to see who it's working for. So right now this link says anyone at Murray Independent can view this folder, and anything inside of it, by the way. Well, that's great, but my parents aren't at Murray Independent. In fact, they don't have Murray Independent emails. So what I'm going to need to do is change this to anyone with the link can view. Okay? You can also make any of these things anyone with the link can edit. So if you have a folder that a lot of people are going to be working on and you want them to add things to it or share things or mess with some of the files inside, you can give everybody access to edit. So again, that is Get Shareable Link, and then you change your options under More depending on what kind of link sharing you need. When you finish, you can copy this link, paste it into an email, and send it to anyone you want. They will not have to log in to view the document. The last thing we're going to talk about is offline mode for Google Drive. So you may be thinking, I have all these files and folders here. What happens if I don't have internet? How can I work on my documents? Well, Google Drive has a built-in offline mode available on every device that you use. You just have to turn it on each device, and then your files will be available offline so that you can work on them, and they will sync right back up as soon as you get connected to internet. So let's see how to turn that on. You're going to go to your little gear, click Settings, and make sure that the offline mode button is checked. Now, one of the things that I found with this is that when I am truly offline, not all of my files are available. It tends to be that files I've worked on recently, or up to a certain size limit, are available. So you may want to make sure if there's something specific you'd like to work in the car, offline, that you've opened that file in the recent past. So just open a few files that you're going to work on, then when you go off internet, you'll be able to open those files and edit them. The great thing about Google Drive is that it will save all of your changes as you work, And then when you get internet again, it will sync all of those changes, and so everything will be live again and everything will be synced up.